Celebrities, the rich and famous that we celebrate. Well, not all the time. But at the end of the day, we're all humans alike, and we suffer with the same problems as everyone else does. Mental illness being one of them. That being said, I'm Fuzz from Randomly Twisted, and this is 10 celebs who suffer with mental illnesses. Number 10. Demi Lovato, bipolar disorder. Demi came into the attention of the world through her character, Michi Torres, in the very successful Disney Camp Rock. From there, Demi rose to stardom by landing record deals and winning countless awards.
Go on and try to tear me down. I will be rising from the ground like a skyscraper. Like a skyscraper. Take me down into your paradise. Don't be scared, 'cause I'm your body type. Just something that we wanna try. 'Cause you and I, we're cool for the summer.
However, reaching superstardom wasn't an easy journey. In 2011, during her inpatient treatment for bulimia and self-harming, Lovato was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Since then, Lovato has helped many individuals by sharing her story with the world and stays active in helping others with bipolar disorder.
We've talked about struggles with addiction, which you've been sober 3 years. I know you just put a post up on Instagram, which is very exciting.
Thank you.
You've also had bipolar disorder, and I think that's an area where people aren't as educated. There's a lot of misconceptions. What would you want people to know about what it's like living with that?
Well, mental illnesses in general are totally, they're not talked about as much as they should. And people, I would love for people to become more educated. Unfortunately, with Be Vocal, you can go to the website bevocalspeakup.com for more information and for resources. But you know, I wish that more people could understand from a point where it's not a choice to have an addiction. And with bipolar disorder, it's a chemical imbalance, and it's something that you have to figure out your own treatment with your own team. And in order to do that, it takes time. And finally, I'm in a great place to where I can say that recovery is possible.
Number 9. Jim Carrey, bipolar disorder. Now, Jim Carrey is well known for his wild and eccentric acting styles. After being one of the stars on the popular comedy sketch show In Living Color, his unique persona spread throughout Hollywood, from Mask, Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, and so many more. However, Carrey shared about his battle with bipolar disorder and how it contributed towards his comedies. Although Carrey used Prozac to deal with his manic depression, he's now turned to transcendental meditation to deal with his mental illness.
It may have helped me out of a jam for a little bit, but people stay on it forever. You know, I had to get off at a certain point because I realized that, you know, everything's just okay.
No peaks and valleys.
There are peaks, there are valleys, but they're all kind of carved and smoothed out, and it feels like a low level of despair you live in, where you're not getting any answers, but you're living okay, and you can smile at the office, you know, but it's a low level of despair.
And you don't take any of them, or you don't take anything there?
Nothing. I don't take anything. I rarely drink coffee. I'm very serious about no alcohol, no drugs. Life is too beautiful. So
he draws his strength now from the spiritual side of his life.
This is my spot. This is the center of the universe. It's where I hang out with Buddha and Krishna and, you know, all those guys.
Are you a
Jesus.
Buddhist?
I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian, I'm whatever you want me to be. You know, it all comes down to the same thing. You're in a loving place or you're in an unloving place. If you're with me right now, we cannot be unhappy. It's not possible. It's not possible. Just try.
Number 8. J.K. Rowling, depression. Responsible for the world's most popular little wizard, J.K. Rowling has authored stories to capture the imagination of millions of young people. When Rowling was writing her stories, she battled with depression and suicidal thoughts after her recent divorce and looking after her newborn daughter. Since her successes, Rowling still stands as an avid spokeswoman for depression, from tweeting motivators to help others to battle with depression, to reaching out to her fans personally.
Depression clinical depression is a terrible place to be. Terrible place to be.
So you became depressed after your mother died?
Yes, but I think it was a kind of delayed. I think I had tendencies towards depression from quite young. It became really acute when I was sort of 25 to 28. Was a dark time.
First of all, you talked about how rock bottom became the foundation from which you rebuilt your life. But the most important thing was about how to use failure.
Failure is so important. It doesn't get spoken about enough. We speak about success all the time. But, you know, I do not know any, I haven't met, and I've been so fortunate and met extraordinary people through Harry Potter, and not one of them didn't have their failure. There more than one failure. And it's the ability to resist failure in many ways, or use failure, that often leads to the greatest success, isn't it? So, yeah, failure. I've often met people who are terrified, you know, in a straitjacket of their own making, because they'd rather do anything than fail. They don't want to try for fear of failing. Well, that's the rock bottom thing. Rock bottom wasn't fun.
Number 7. Princess Diana, bulimia and depression. One of the most loved royal, Princess Diana is well known for her charity work with HIV/AIDS, landmines and homelessness. However, behind the compassion, charisma and that beautiful smile lay a world of depression. After a failing marriage and the responsibilities of being the Princess of Wales, Princess Diana suffered with postpartum depression after the birth of Prince William. Di also confessed to suffering with bulimia and self-harm.
When no one listens to you, or you feel no one's listening to you, all sorts of things start to happen. For instance, you have so much pain inside yourself that you try and hurt yourself on the outside because you want help. But it's the wrong help you're asking for. People see it as crying wolf or attention seeking, and they think because you're in the media all the time, you've got enough attention, inverted commas. But I was actually crying out because I wanted to get better in order to go forward and continue my duty and my role as wife, mother, Princess of Wales. So, yes, I did inflict upon myself. I didn't like myself. I was ashamed that I couldn't cope with the pressures.
And to this very day, we still keep Princess Diana's happy memories in our hearts. Number 6. Halle Berry, depression. The sexiest woman alive and my teenage crush, it is no wonder that Halle is still desired by fans all over the world.
Magnificent view.
It is, isn't it?
It did, however, come as a surprise when Halle Berry shared that she had suffered with severe depression to a point that during her first marriage, she contemplated ending it all a few times.
To keep it together, and then, yeah, one day, he did just say,
I'm out of here.
I don't want to do this anymore.
And you felt like your world was falling apart?
Yep.
You were going to kill yourself?
I thought so.
Okay. Did you, like, turn on the engine, and there you're sitting in the car?
Well, I sat in the car for maybe an hour without the engine on, just crying, contemplating, writing notes to what I wanted to say to my mother. That's all I was thinking about, was what I wanted to say to my mother, because I knew that if I did do this, it was going to kill her. So I wanted to write a note to her to tell her what I was feeling. I got fearful that what would the afterlife be like, and what happens to someone that takes their own life, and I thought there must be another way. And I turned the car off. Yeah, and I sat there.
And everyone's applauding because we're glad you did. We're glad you turned the car off.
Thank you.
Well, and, you know, I think the reason to tell the story is because there's so many people who feel that their worth, their wholeness is connected to somebody else's. That's really the big lesson to learn from all this.
Right.
It's hard to learn it when you're in it, though. It's hard to see when you're there that you are whole all by yourself and that you don't need somebody to make you whole.
Exactly.
Have you come out of that now, though?
I've been in therapy the last year working on that, and so many people ask me now, so is there a new guy? They ask me that backstage, and I'm thinking, no, I'm holding on to dear life for me, for myself.
And Halle now fights with her depression through therapy and doing things she enjoys doing the most. Number 5, Wayne Brady, Depression. This one came as a huge surprise to me. During the early years of YouTube, before videos of cats doing stupid things overtook the website, it had hundreds upon hundreds of Whose Line Is It Anyway videos. Wayne Brady, the upbeat comedian, was in almost every episode, and in each episode, he was hilarious.
Yeah. Wait till I put the music on.
However, Brady admitted to battling with depression for years. He also shared how he felt at his lowest on his 42nd birthday, all alone. But Brady is on the road to recovery, for which he thanks his ex-wife, friends, and fans for their amazing support.
It's not important enough. And even now, as I'm hearing myself saying all those things, like, wow, man, I really wish that I would have spoken out earlier, because there's nothing like being able to shine a light on those secrets. Those secrets kill. The secret of keeping all that to yourself and putting on that mask that'll eat away at you daily. It ate away at me daily. You feel any of the negative emotions or that dark cloud settle on you, and you feel like you need to cry out or speak to someone about it. No, I'm not gonna do that, because I'm a man. That's what you're taught. That's what you were programmed. And that's what kills us. So in speaking about it on ET and being honest, folks have come out of the woodwork. People that I haven't heard from in years, complete strangers, a ton of mostly on Twitter and on Facebook and social media. That's been an amazing gauge of all the love, and so many people, it's echoed the exact same sentiment. Thank you so much for speaking, because I felt that I couldn't.
Number 4, Russell Brand, Bipolar Disorder. Now this list would not be complete without the Brand man himself. Brand is well known for his comedies, his stand-up, and hilarious interviews.
I really like it.
Oh, good. You can come sit in this chair anytime you want.
Thank you. Do you think there will be times when it's impractical?
If someone's in it?
For example?
Yes. It depends on who's in it. They may enjoy you sitting on their lap.
It may lift the interview. They could be here, and then suddenly I'll be perched on their lap. They'll have to crane round you, but it may induce a kind of sexual energy, perhaps.
Let's try it someday.
Any of your guests, you can select one at random from a hat, and then I'll just come and perch on their knees, or if we feel very adventurous, further along towards the groin.
However, Brand suffers with bipolar disorder from a trauma-filled childhood, which he is really open about, but Brand has managed to find his peace through abstinence and yoga.
What about yoga?
Well, what that's all about, John, is, as you know, that consciousness is an amorphous and expanding entity. I think that we allow our consciousness to be prohibited by our senses, prescribed by our senses, living in the realm of these 5 apertures into our reality. But reality is limitless, space is infinite, time eternal. Through yoga, one can temporarily break the bonds that chain us to the mundane, the mondial, that which is of the earth, and we can temporarily at least receive a taste of the infinite. This
has been a key to your recovery. You sound like a sort of new age prophet, you know.
Prophet, you say?
Yes.
Jon Snow there just said that I sound like a new age prophet.
Well,
any particular one? Look at the beard, look at the hair.
Number 3, Carrie Fisher, Bipolar Disorder. Princess Leia was the fantasy of millions of men, especially in the slave bikini costume. Anyways, With the stardom came an addiction of a combination of prescription medication and cocaine to self-medicate her bipolar disorder.
So interestingly enough, when you were diagnosed in your 20s and you said you found it hard to accept, it's because what? You didn't want to accept it, you didn't believe it?
I knew two other people that I had been told were manic depressive, and these people were nuts. And so that's how I felt about it. I was like, come on. You know, so I did not believe it.
You didn't want to accept it?
No, and actually they can't diagnose someone if they're bipolar or not when you're still loaded. Because if you're taking drugs the way I took them, and a lot of people take them, you're bipolar. You know, it's like that anyway.
But they didn't have a name for bipolar. Didn't even exist.
Oh, right, it's manic depressive.
Yeah.
So when I finally, I got sober, and I was a year sober, and I never did calm down. I never, you know, and everybody I'd come in with, in rehab now, they'd all kind of
calmed down,
evened out, and I was still spinning around in chairs and writing books in 2 months. And
wow. Do you like being in that space?
I like being manic.
Really?
At a certain point, though, no, because you're peerless. I mean, you know, who else is like that? And you're a spectacle.
However, Fisher became an active voice for people all around America with bipolar disorder and received an Outstanding Lifetime Achievement Award in Cultural Humanism from Harvard College. Number 2. Stephen Fry, bipolar disorder. A national treasure of Great Britain, Stephen Fry has always been at the forefront of pushing the envelope of political and social boundaries, not only with his comedy and dramas, but also with his amazing wit and knowledge. Stephen Fry, similarly to Carrie Fisher, has shared his lifelong battle with bipolar with the world through his documentaries, books, and humanist work. I would recommend watching his Secret Life of the Manic Depressive documentary.
In the early hours of the next morning, I came down from my flat in central London to this lane. I went into my garage, sealed the door with a duvet I brought, and got into my car.
Sat there for at least, I think, 2 hours in the car, my hands on the ignition key. It was a suicide attempt, not a cry for help.
I drove to the south coast and took a ferry to Europe.
I just knew I couldn't be at home. I couldn't be in London. I couldn't be in England. I really believed that I would never come back to England. Runaway Stephen Fry broke his silence last night to reveal the torture he's been suffering. They all are worried that I've committed suicide. That's the awful thing.
But after a week, I secretly returned to England to this hospital and to a doctor telling me that I was bipolar. I'd never heard the word before, but for the first time, at the age of 37, I had a diagnosis that explained the massive highs and miserable lows I've lived with all my life.
Number 1. Robin Williams, bipolar disorder. The legend who brought us his crazy style of comedy and his touching performances in movies like Good Morning Vietnam, Good Will Hunting, Dead Poets Society, and many more, Robin Williams was a genius of our time.
It's not your fault. I know. It's not your fault. I know. No, you don't. It's not your fault. I know. It's not your fault. All right? It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Don't fuck with me. It's not your fault. Don't fuck with me, all right? Don't fuck with me, Sean. Not you. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Good morning,
this is not a test. This is rock and roll. Time to rock it from the Delta to the DMZ. Is that me or does that sound like an Elvis Presley movie? Viva Danang. Oh, viva Danang. Danang me. Why don't they get a rope and hang me? Hey, is it a little too early for being that loud? Hey, too late. It's 0600. What's the O stand for? Oh, my God, it's early. Speaking of early, how about that Cro-Magnon, Marty Drywoods? Thank you, Marty, for silky smooth sound. Make me sound like Peggy Lee. Freddie and the Dreamers.
The wrong speed. We've got it on the wrong speed. For those of you who are recovering from a hangover, that's going to sound just right.
Let's pull it right back down. Let's try a little faster, see if that picks it up a little bit. Let's get up on 70. Those pilots are going right now. I really like the music. Oh, still a bad song. Hey, wait a minute. Let's try something. Let's play this backwards and see if it gets any better. Freddy is a devil. Freddy is a devil.
However, like many true geniuses, Williams faced a drug addiction and his depression to top it all. In and out of recovery, Williams never failed to be a father, a loving husband, and the entertainer the world loved him for.
I'm not going to pretend that I know what's going on in the mind of a teenager. All I'm saying is Kyle made a mistake. If you're that depressed, reach out to someone. And remember, suicide is a permanent solution to temporary problems.
Before I end this video, I want to highlight that this video is not to number out these celebrities. This video is to illustrate that mental illness affects all of us. And as well as this video is a tribute to the celebrities who speak out about their illnesses and have made a difference in all of our lives. We should remember these celebrities not for a biological illness, but for their accolades and the contributions to the world. The inspiration that we can always achieve anything we want, no matter what. This is my thank you. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to comment below, like, share and subscribe. I'm First from Randomly Twisted, and I'll catch you later.